if you want to, yeah, advance the slide, thank you. So Margaret and I, we're both with SmithGroup, and we spend a lot of our time working with folks up and down, not just Lake Michigan, but a lot of Lake Michigan. It is a big focus of our work. If you could go next slide. So at SmithGroup, we work with a lot of different client types. I've listed many of them there, and really all aspects of the waterfront, from marine structures and emergency response, beaches and parks and so on. But we also deal with a lot of private residences, and then also with stakeholders, for example, people who would use, Chicago Park District and a lot of their concerns. So both of us spend quite a bit of time out talking to the public about the work that we do. Next slide. So you asked kind of two questions. The first one was what's a successful approach? And then the second one was, what have we had some difficulty with? So I'm going to have Margaret jump in here and talk a little bit about one of the most successful approaches that we have found.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Margaret. So I find that I can talk, wax poetic about shorelines and sea level rise, water level rise and variation. But a lot of people just give me a lot of blank stares. So putting together very simple graphics is what we do. So this and you can go ahead and start advancing through this, kind of communicating the idea of shoreline inundation, and that beaches aren't always gone, but just under the water. But seawalls, when they get overtopped, the inundation and the flooding is kind of limitless. And moving on to the next slide, this is a good communication of low water and high water and the dynamics of beaches and how they move in and out, that they are living systems. A lot of times in the Great Lakes, they think all of my sand is gone. Well, actually just sitting offshore, and a graphic such as this helps communicate that relationship of high water and low water and where the sand is actually going. So we use these graphics that we create in-house with our more graphic savvy team, which always tends to help. And I think there's one more moving forward. Oh, back to Mark on this.
Yeah, so then one of the things that we find, as a big challenge around communication is really just kind of helping people understand the different timescales of a lot of the fluctuations. The lake level over the last 100 years is one that we've already seen today, but helping people kind of remember that, while we're at record highs now, it wasn't so long ago, just 2012, that we were at record lows, and then it was back into the 80s that we had, previously seen lake levels at this height. So just kind of like helping people sort of remember and understand the long-term nature, of some of the changes. But also, if you go to the next slide, some of the changes that we may see in a matter of days or during a day. And this reflects a lot of the information that Ricky with the Weather Service was sharing easily, but sometimes people may just understand where the current lake level is as a monthly average, but then not necessarily understand that on any given day we may see a foot or 2 feet of rise related to storms and atmospheric things. And one of the things that I think Margaret and I have both found is that people tend to be a little myopic sometimes, and they tend to focus very much on what is immediately in front of them, and maybe not remembering what has gone in the past. And so when lake levels are high, we often see people, oh my goodness, they're so high, they're just going to go higher. This is often reflected in the news also. And then when they're low, oh my goodness, they're so low. And so trying to kind of communicate these different scales of change is something that is always a challenge. And I think that is the end of what we had to say. Yeah, so thank you for letting us participate. It's been a great day so far and really looking forward to chatting with everybody.